I really didn't think that you'd hate my parents like this. How disappointing.
I'm shocked too. Christy, you're terrible. Hearing this, I finally screamed hysterically because I couldn't stand what my husband Paul and mother-in-law Kate was saying. Why do you both have to make me feel like I'm the bad guy here? Isn't it a common knowledge that a honeymoon is for the married couple? Why can't you understand that it's wrong of you to try to bring your parents along to our honeymoon? But no matter how much I told my husband, he wouldn't listen to me.
I'm taking my whole family to our honeymoon. If you don't like it, then I'll divorce you.
Paul said those words in an irritating manner. Oh, I see. So I guess this means that my husband cares more about his own parents than me. Fine. Let's get a divorce then.
What?
My husband looked surprised when I agreed to his idea. My name is Christy, and I'm a 28-year-old office worker. It's already been 6 years since I graduated from college and continued working for the company I started working for. I kept getting so absorbed in my busy but challenging job that I missed the right timing to get married. Some of my colleagues who were younger than me were getting married as early as when they were 24 or 25, and I was honestly getting worried about myself. I wonder if I'll be treated like one of those old veteran female employees in the office. Of course, there are female colleagues who are older than me. They are very dependable women who can do their jobs well. I admire them, but it's also true that somewhere in the back of my mind, there's a part of me that I strongly feel that I don't want to remain single. That was when I met Paul. Paul is very kind and always prioritizes where I wanted to go and what I wanted to do on our dates. I had never met a man be so kind to me before, so I was very happy and I gladly accepted his proposal. Everyone, including my parents, congratulated us at the wedding ceremony. Even after our marriage, Paul continues to smile and relaxes me with his usual calm face. Even when I come home tired from work, just seeing Paul's face made me feel happy. Come to think of it, my father-in-law is also very calm like my husband, but it was surprising that my mother-in-law, Kate, was more aggressive. Well, we don't plan to live together anyways, and the only time we will see them will be for Thanksgiving and the New Year's holidays. So, I'm not really involved with her. But still, I knew from the time we first greeted each other that Kate didn't like me very much. I had planned to continue working after we got married, but Kate didn't like that. Her mindset was old-fashioned, and she complained, saying, "What kind of wife does she think she is, going out to work?" And I think it was also partly because Paul was honest enough to tell her that I had a higher salary than him. Normally, you should respect your man. If you're going to work, work somewhere that has a lower salary than your own husband. I really couldn't understand Kate's point about that. It's not that Paul was a bad person, just that I made more money than him. Besides, it seems so strange to me to lower my salary just to respect Paul when I know that the job would pay me so well. My husband also agrees with my decision to work at my current company, saying,
"We really don't know what the future holds."
But I haven't been able to fully argue back in front of Kate. Therefore, I secretly thought that I would try to avoid Kate as much as possible so that she wouldn't force me to do anything strange.
Anyways, which travel agency are you going to choose?
Paul asks me. The wedding ceremony is a major life event, but honeymoon is just as important. When it comes to traveling in Europe, there are a wide range of traveling agencies that offer different plans. So, we couldn't decide which agency to choose. I would like to go here, but I'm also interested in this agency's wine tasting tour of authentic French wines. I have always been fascinated with Europe. For some reason, I loved seeing their historical buildings, and I love the atmosphere of Europe, which cherishes its old-fashioned retro atmosphere, while also being very modern as well as being very fashionable. I'm sure that a chance like this only comes once in a lifetime.
I'll go wherever you want to go, Christy.
My husband said this in his usual laid-back tone. It's nice that he's always so calm, but I'm a little frustrated that he doesn't really say his opinion or take the lead at times like this. The only time we get a long vacation is for our honeymoon, and an overseas trip is not something we get to do very often. I'll still think about it. My husband laughed and went to the kitchen for a cup of coffee. It's not often that we get to go to overseas or on a vacation, but more than anything else, a honeymoon is a once-in-a-lifetime event. My husband and I wanted to create wonderful memories that would last a lifetime. For that reason, I didn't want to make a choice that I would regret. Excuse me, I would like to have this tour, please. Sounds great. I'm glad that you found a tour that you're satisfied with. To be honest, it took me more than a month. No, almost 2 months to choose. I don't think anyone worries that much about a trip. I also feel like I caused so much trouble at the travel agency as well. I'm sorry it took so long. I had to ask you many times about the details of the tour. I said apologetically, and the female staff of the travel agency gave me a friendly smile. No, please don't worry about it. It's your honeymoon, right? It's an important once-in-a-lifetime trip, so it's only natural to think it over as many times as you want. There are even customers who spent half a year thinking about it while they are also planning their wedding ceremony. I was really surprised to hear that it took 6 months for some couples to plan out their honeymoon. Our role is to provide a trip that will become wonderful memories for all our customers. I was relieved to hear that from the traveling agency. I was grateful to the wedding planner for her help at the wedding, but now I can only be thankful for the support of so many people who have come to support and help us. Thinking this, I realized that we human beings can't live alone. My anxiety about whether things would go well on the trip naturally faded away, and I was able to focus on my work with peace of mind. That evening, after my husband came home, I told him about my decision. I've decided on our honeymoon plan. I'm going to choose this agency. As I inform him like an excited child would do, Paul responds to me in a relaxed manner, saying,
Well, I'm glad you found a good plan.
I was a little taken aback by his reply, in which he sounded a little uninterested. But I was the one who had longed for a trip to Europe in the first place. And well, maybe this is how husbands in general react to things. Are you looking forward to our honeymoon? My husband looked surprised and said,
Of course. It will definitely be a fun trip if it's with you, Christy.
That evening, my husband and I spent the rest of the evening talking about the trip. Since both of us were working, we both couldn't take 12 days off at the same time, which was required for a trip to Europe. So, we took our time to schedule, but the dates were quickly decided compared to what I had expected. When I reported to my boss that I would be taking the days off, he happily congratulated me. Honeymoons are special. Forget about work and enjoy it to the fullest. Thank you very much, sir. I also told my mother about the trip. Oh, a trip to Europe sounds wonderful. Don't worry, I'll get some souvenirs. I'll pick out some fashionable souvenirs.
Thank you. But don't worry about the souvenirs.
Just enjoy your honeymoon, sweetie. My mother had sent me off happily. I've already checked the weather in the European region, and now I need to check the flight times, what to bring, and so on. How can preparations for fun things go so smoothly? But unlike me, who was impatient, Paul is a laid-back person by nature, so he seems to be taking his time in preparing for the trip. But both of us had finished packing our luggage a week before the trip. Then, Paul has suddenly asked,
Can I buy another luggage?
I was a little taken aback by his sudden question. What? What we have isn't enough? I mean, you've already packed it, but do you have to repack again to the new one if you're going to order it? When I asked him that, he said,
No, I was thinking of making additional preparations.
Which made me even more confused. Then, it occurred to me that maybe he was thinking of souvenirs. When I packed what seemed to be necessary for the two of us, there wasn't much room in either of our luggages. I figured we could fit souvenirs for each other's parents and work, but if I found a nice antique over there, I might be tempted to buy it. You're right. It would be nice to have at least one more luggage. I took Paul's suggestion without thinking it through at the time.
Thanks. Then I'll order it online as soon as I can.
I was genuinely happy that Paul had finally suggested something, since he had not given me much of his ideas at the wedding or on our previous trips. And finally, on the day before our honeymoon, I couldn't help but get excited thinking that we were finally leaving tomorrow. Like a child before going on a field trip, I wondered what I would do if I couldn't sleep. Just as I was thinking that, my husband came back home from work.
I'm home.
Welcome back! It's tomorrow!
Yeah.
Should we eat something simple tonight so that we can go to sleep early for tomorrow?
Sure. Tomorrow we have to be up early, right? Before we go to the airport, I have to get my parents... Oh!
What? Paul has suddenly screamed, so I got surprised. What happened? Did you forget something? What on earth did he forget the day before our honeymoon? There should be nothing wrong with our passports or traveling documents. So, I couldn't really understand why Paul was panicking. Then, out of my husband's mouth came these unbelievable words.
I was going to ask you to get tickets for my father and mother, but I forgot. I wonder if it's still possible to get them now.
Huh? What are you talking about? Tickets? Are your parents going on a trip somewhere? Or to a concert or something? I had no idea what Paul was talking about. Then he says,
No, I mean the honeymoon.
Huh?
I contacted my parents after we decided on our honeymoon, but my mom got mad saying that a husband's parents are supposed to accompany to the honeymoon. Christy, have you already reserved the tickets for them?
I was absolutely stunned. What in the world was he talking about? My anger rose to the boiling point. What are you talking about? A honeymoon is for married couples, isn't it? I've never heard of parents going to the honeymoon with the married couple. Even though I was angry at Paul for saying this, he wouldn't understand at all.
No, but my parents are very happy to hear that we're going to Europe, you know?
I don't understand why he'd say such a thing. We just got married, and this is a special trip for us. Do you think that our honeymoon is just a family vacation or something? Then suddenly, the doorbell rang. I glanced through the door and saw my in-laws there. Despite my surprise, my husband answered the door as if nothing had happened and quickly let them into the living room. "I'm sorry to bother you," Kate said as she held a big duffel bag in her hand. And it looked like Her duffel bag had a lot of things in it. Kate? I was so upset that I was at a loss for words, but Kate continued to talk one after another. If we're traveling with an airplane, then maybe this duffel bag might be too big. I heard you prepared another luggage, but where is it? What? Was that for your mother? I looked at my husband, and he looked at me as if he was saying,
Of course.
I don't want to argue with my parents-in-law, but this time, I can't back down either. After all, this was our honeymoon, and I had planned it for a very long time. Besides, we couldn't get tickets for them now, and I had just confirmed online that the tour was fully booked, including us. Well, you know, Kate, this is our honeymoon. But Kate seemed like she didn't really care and just replied, Yes, I know, you both just got married. My husband didn't look like he was upset about the fact that his parents were coming to the honeymoon. My father-in-law is standing behind Kate with an equally large amount of luggage. Honeymoons are usually for the two married people, right? To this, Kate replied, What are you talking about? You are the wife who joined our family, and if you are a wife, it is only natural that you should serve your husband's family. No, I would travel with both of you if this was a family vacation. But isn't a honeymoon supposed to be for the married couple alone? Well, there is no such rule. Then how was it when you had your honeymoon, Kate? I was angry at Kate, who didn't listen to me at all. Well, at that time, my mother-in-law couldn't walk very well, so she didn't come with us. It is the duty of a daughter-in-law to not make things difficult for the mother-in-law, right? So, your mother-in-law didn't actually come to your honeymoon, right? But you're coming to our honeymoon? After hearing this, Kate clearly began to be in a bad mood. But I'm not going to take any step back. You see, we were very much looking forward to our trip to Europe. I was really looking forward to this trip to Europe. Just hearing those words, all the hard work and excitement I had been through came rushing back to me, and I almost burst into tears. Even I was looking forward to our honeymoon as a married couple. Then Paul interrupted.
Christy, it's all good. Wouldn't the trip be more fun with my parents around? If we can't make it tomorrow, let's just cancel the trip and find a place where the four of us can go to again.
I was too stunned. Paul is really planning to take my in-laws on our honeymoon. I got even a little dizzy at his statement. I really wanted to endure it, but honestly, I felt like crying out right now. What? How could you even say that? When I said this in a voice that sounded like it was about to disappear, my husband sighed and began to say this.
I never thought that you would hate my parents so much. How disappointing.
I'm shocked too. Christy, you're terrible. Hearing this, I finally screamed hysterically because I couldn't stand what Paul and Kate was saying. Why do you both have to make me feel like I'm the bad guy here? Isn't it a common knowledge that a honeymoon is for the married couple? Why can't you understand that it's wrong of you to try to bring your parents along to our honeymoon? But no matter how much I told my husband, he wouldn't listen to me.
Christy, you've been acting strange lately. You have never been cold like this before.
Paul says with a look of dismay on his face.
Mom, Dad, I'm sorry. Can I ask you to go home today? You can leave your luggages here.
Saying this, Paul took my parents-in-law to the front door. Kate was saying something by the front door, but I couldn't hear her. When he came back a little while later, Paul said,
"Cancel the trip for now and think about it calmly."
I no longer had the energy to even respond to his words. At the same time, I could feel my feelings that I had for Paul go away. Even if I remained married to him, I was sure that he would always put his parents first, not me. There was no need for me to stay married to someone who wouldn't protect me when I needed it. I contacted the travel agency just before their business hours ended. There was no way I could go on a fun trip in this situation anyway. The person who was in charge at the travel agency when I made the decision answered the phone and asked me several times if I really wanted to cancel or not. I told her in a sad voice that I wanted to cancel. The person in charge seemed to have guessed what was going on. She briefly explained the necessary details, including the fact that there would be a cancellation fee the day before. By this point, I wasn't feeling disappointed. It was just a clerical task for me. For the next few days, Paul and I did not speak to each other. Paul says something like,
"We'll resume talking when you calm down."
but I don't think I'm wrong at all. So I didn't apologize or even try to talk to him. Then suddenly, before dinner, Paul put the divorce papers on the table.
"I'm taking my whole family on our honeymoon. If you don't like it, then I'll divorce you."
Paul says this with an irritated attitude. Oh, I see. I guess my husband cares more about his own parents than me. Fine. Then let's get a divorce.
"What?"
My husband was surprised that I easily agreed to his idea.
Hey, wait a minute. Are you serious?
What? You're the one who brought the divorce papers and started this. Don't tell me that you were saying that just to threaten me.
No.
Paul looked away awkwardly. I couldn't care less anymore and proceeded to fill out the divorce papers. Some people might think that we were getting divorced only because of a honeymoon. But I knew now that this man would not protect me in any case. I wouldn't be able to live a long, happy life with such a person like him. If he wants to travel so badly with his parents, then he should just go on a family vacation with them. Here, I finished signing it. I handed it to him, and Paul filled it out with his trembling hands. Well, I'll submit it to the city office tomorrow. With that, I snatched the divorce papers from Paul's hands. He looked at me in a frightened way. He may have been emotional and regretted bringing the divorce papers to me, but it is already too late. Once my feelings leave, then there's no going back. So just like that, our divorce was finalized with no problems. When I told my parents about the divorce, they were surprised. But when I told them about our honeymoon issue and my in-laws, they were stunned. "It's a good thing you got a divorce before things got messy," they said. By the way, after the divorce, my ex-husband complained to his co-workers that I was a selfish woman who didn't take care of his parents. But it seems that his intention to show my insanity by bringing up about our honeymoon was reversed, and instead, his own insanity was exposed to his coworkers. The fact that my ex-husband wanted to take his own parents along on our honeymoon spread throughout the company because in reality, taking his parents to the honeymoon was a ridiculous idea. In no time at all, he was recognized as a mama's boy, and Paul couldn't understand this. It began to have a rebellious attitude toward those around him, saying,
"Why should I be told like that?"
He was apparently transferred to a regional sales office, but he quit after showing the company how much of a mama's boy he was by saying,
"I'll quit if it's too far away from my parents' house."
Rumor has it that he is currently at home, jobless, and he's not even searching for a job. The cause of this seems to be Kate, who has been incessantly calling Paul's former boss to complain and even sending letters saying, "It's the company's fault for forcing my son to resign." She kept saying, "I will continue to sue them until they pay my son proper damages." And as a result, the company sued her for obstruction of business. As a result, the damages were paid by Kate, and my ex-father-in-law apparently had to pay on her behalf. When I see them causing all kinds of troubles in this way, even though we are now strangers, I'm so glad that I got away from them. Meanwhile, I rented an apartment for a single person near my office and started living alone. I still have nothing else to do but work, and I am devoting myself to my job more than ever. Then, a veteran female co-worker, whom I had admired for a long time, complimented me saying, "You've been working harder than usual lately." Then, the two of us went out for drinks after work, and she taught me about her work and the experiences that she had working at the company.
I'm thinking of creating my own company within a few years. If you like, Christy, would you work with me at my company?
I had only one answer. Yes, I would love to work with you. I guess this kind of adventurous life is for me after all. I hope to meet someone who understands me someday as I live my life in this way. Well, even if I don't meet someone, it will still be fun as long as I'm happy. Isn't the ex-husband really horrible to try to take your own parents on your honeymoon? He is a crazy ex-husband. It hurts to see Christy getting a divorce, but I am glad that she was able to get away from such a man and his family. Christy's work seems to be going well, so please live the life you want and be happy, Christy. Thank you for watching until the end. Please subscribe to our channel. See you in the next video!